Okay, Mark, we're good to go.
Good to go. Okay. So, you guys all ready? Everybody on the board ready for your final hurrah?
I'm still not up.
All right. Hold on to your seats. Welcome everybody to the Lake Bluff School District Board of Education regular meeting for April 27th, 2021. Before we begin, I need to read something from the governor. Our board members and members of the district's administrative team are participating in a hybrid meeting as there is currently a requirement of group sizes in an effort to limit the spread of COVID-19. As a public body, the Lake Bluff Board of Education is subject to the Illinois Open Meeting Act. Prior to this meeting, a public announcement was posted on our website announcing various participation options, including asking questions ahead of the meeting using a Google form. I would also add that anybody watching can via Zoom can participate by raising their hand during the opportunity to address the board. While the requirements of the Open Meeting Act have been relaxed during the global pandemic, the members of the Board of Education take their responsibilities as board members who are responsible to the public no less seriously. I would also point out that this is a very special meeting as we get to say goodbye to four veteran board members who've been with us for 8 years in 3 cases and 1 year, one person 10 years. And so they have worked very hard and we will show them some real appreciation and love. And we'll also get the opportunity to welcome 4 brand new board members tonight. So we've got a lot going on. It's not a very typical meeting. As we move through it, the very first part will be typical. As we get into the transition portion of it, it will be new and different, so I apologize in advance if I bumble through some of it. So Julie is acting as our secretary pro tem this evening, correct?
That's right.
Can you please call the roll?
We'll do so. Andy Duran.
Present.
Ann Hill. Present. Mark Berry.
Present.
Leanne Charlot.
Present.
Julie Godshall, present. Richard Haig.
Present.
And John Rosen.
Present.
The gang is all here.
Okay, all counted and all accounted for. So for your final board meeting, would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
So now we are going to move into the public comment section of our meeting. I'll let people know that we will have public comment at the end of our regular meeting as well. And then again, at the end of our reorganization meeting where we bring on the new board members. So if anybody would like to be making public comment live on Zoom, please use the raise your hand feature and raise your hand and you will be recognized. We're going to start with anybody live in person in the room who wants to make public comment. Then we're going to move to anybody with their hand raised on Zoom who wants to make public comment. And then we're going to read public comments. We have quite a few. I would remind everybody who wants to make public comment, whether in person or on Zoom, to please, when you're recognized, please start by stating your name and your address. Please keep your limit your comments to 3 minutes of total time. You will be timed and will be asked to wrap your comments up at 3 minutes. Also note that the board will listen attentively and carefully, but they will not engage in conversation with the comments at this time. So with that, are there people on the floor who would like to make public comment?
Shayna. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm Shayna Freed, mother to Andrew Turlow in 7th grade and Keith Turlow in 3rd grade at the elementary school. I was happy to receive an email communication from Dr. Leali last week discussing the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and introducing Thrive, a new community effort to ensure all students are supported. I feel grateful and lucky that we are in a school district that recognizes the impact of social and racial injustice on everyone in our community, while also recognizing that some students and families are disproportionately impacted and may need extra attention, resources, and support. I agree with Dr. Leali that diversity makes our district and community exceptional, and we all need to come together to ensure that all our students and families are supported. I have already reached out to our elementary and middle school principals to volunteer to assist with these efforts and to support Thrive. To me, there's nothing easier to agree on than the importance of making sure our community is an inclusive and kind place for everyone. The role of our schools in fostering an inclusive community is absolutely crucial. Thank you to Dr. Leali and our school leadership for stepping up to lead and be accountable for inclusion and equity.
Thank you.
Amanda? Hi, my name's Amanda Demas. I'm at 339 West Prospect Avenue. I have 2 children in the elementary school, and my glasses are fogging up a little bit, so I'm gonna try and do this as quickly as I can. I like to think our small town as one that is laid back and friendly. We teach our kids pause at the elementary school and have a bench where kids who feel excluded can sit to let other kids know they want to be included and play. When I read Dr. Leali's email, I didn't think about it too much other than I was happy the school is taking steps to be more inclusive, and I agree we can do more. I understand that our exclusionary practices and racism are institutionalized and that we as a culture have a long way to go towards being anti-racist. I'm baffled at how anyone could want the exclusion of children. I'm about as privileged as they come. I'm white, straight, able, and economically privileged, to mention a few. But as a woman, I've known hate and exclusion. I refuse to allow hate to win over love. I refuse to be indifferent to anything less than full inclusion. Diversity and inclusion are cool. When we include, we learn, we expand our perspectives. Differences are what make us unique and great and should be celebrated. I celebrate the school's efforts to further the efforts of diversity, equity, and inclusion through Thrive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason and Danielle?
Hello, my name is Jason Foster. My wife is here, Danielle Foster. We live at 228 Rivers Drive in Lake Bluff. My wife sent me the email that the superintendent made, and I was very pleased with the response. I guess what I'm displeased with is the propensity for those who feel as if it's somehow what she wrote was harmful or taking away from other people's voices, particularly white voices in the community. And that upsets me tremendously because the community is predominantly white. And so given that, there's lots of privilege going on in this community for those who have in this community. And so what I think to take from what she wrote was that the global reality of how the pandemic impacted those people of color in particular, those of us who are living in these kind of microcosm cases of white communities, that there is not only kind of like the physical part, but there's the mental part as well that we have to be very attuned to. We have a son that's in the elementary school, and so far things are okay. But it's not to take from things that we are not able to see. And I really appreciate her acknowledging that reality amongst those who are in the community who are of color, and keeping that on the kind of front line, that people should be aware of that disparity in the community. So I just want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And as someone mentioned before, we do have a long way to go. But I think if we work together, that we can achieve some great things in this community and progress forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sandy?
Hi there, everybody. My name is Sandy Hart. I live at 455 Pine Court. Before I start on one thing, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you who are volunteering your time to serve on the school board. Many of you for many, many years, and I'm just really grateful for that. It is a extremely difficult job, and thank you for what you're doing, as well as those of you guys on Zoom. So thank you to Dr. Leali for her letter last week to the parents and to the community at large regarding the importance of inclusion and recognizing that discrimination, exclusion, stereotyping, and gender, sexual orientation, and racially based violence exists, not just in places we hear about on the news, but right here in Lake Bluff and in places where we live and work. I'm fortunate to serve as the chair of the Lake County Board, representing Lake Bluff and several other communities. Over a year ago, we passed a resolution stating our commitment to embrace diversity in order to shape a brighter future for our county. Our board recognizes that diversity is a source of pride for the community and that at every level of our society, people of all backgrounds contribute to our democracy and strengthen our community's culture and economy. We resolve that Lake County must be a place that respects our differences, and we believe that diverse perspectives create better outcomes. There was not a single negative comment that came when we passed that resolution, and that was for the entire county-wide. And it also passed unanimously. So it's really extremely upsetting that anyone in our town, this town that I love so much, where we are raising our 3 children, where my husband grew up, and where many people have returned to raise their own families, would take issue with the important work and the stance that our school administrators and our school board and teachers are taking in light of this Thrive initiative. The creation of this task force ensures that the district and Lake Bluff is not paying lip service. It was not that long ago that Mayor Sam Cunningham of Waukegan, joined by residents of Lake Bluff and Lake Forest, spoke about the discrimination they face right here every day in our communities that we love so much. So this cannot and will not continue, but it will take all of us to play a part to have those difficult, uncomfortable conversations as we were urged to do so that day, and to speak out when we see and hear injustice. I am grateful to raise my children in a town where the leaders of Lake Bluff are outspoken about the importance of embracing diversity. And I'm especially grateful to you, the school board, for clearly making this a priority for our children and for the teachers and others who take part in their education. Lake County and Lake Bluff must stand against hate and discrimination and affirm that we are a welcoming community for all. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Sophie? Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to provide comments. My name is Sophie Twitchell, and I live at 25 Forest Hills Road in Lake Bluff. So our family was pleased to receive Dr. Leali's email on April 20th. It demonstrated the compassion, care, and empathy we expect from our school district and regularly witness from its educators and administrators. We were proud that District 65 made the unequivocal statement, quote, District 65 does not and will not tolerate or condone any form of harassment, bullying, violence, or exclusion, end quote. These have indeed been hard times, and surely Dr. Leali would not have needed to send this correspondence out if there was no need for concern. We see it too. We volunteer at the Church of the Holy Spirit Food Pantry, and many residents might be surprised to learn how many visitors to the food pantry are from Lake Bluff. As we are all doing our best to navigate these challenging times, we commend Dr. Leali for her thoughtfulness in reaching out to district families to remind them that the district supports, quote, all students and families. We especially appreciated the video versions, which demonstrated her earnestness and commitment. Thank you for creating the Thrive Task Force to make sure we do the best for all our kids. Sophie, John, Cameron, Jake, and Phoebe Twitchell. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no
Anybody
more,
else?
no more.
So we're going to move to the order I see on my screen for hands up is Nicole Quick will be let in to make her comment. Oh, now we've got 6, 7.
Nicole, you're on with the board.
Okay, great. Thanks. Good evening. I'm Nicole Quick. My address is 120 East Hawthorne Court in Lake Bluff. Together with my husband, John, we have 3 boys. Liam's in 3rd grade, Charlie's in 7th grade, and Jack, who is now a Lake Bluff graduate, but is at Lake Forest High School. We've maintained a residence here in Lake Bluff for more than 14 years, and 4 of these years we spent living abroad in Sweden and Singapore. I'm proud to be raised in Lake Bluff, and my parents have lived here for more than 50 years and have both been educators. On behalf of John and I want to share our support and gratitude for the leadership of Dr. Leali. We believe very strongly in her vision for our Lake Bluff schools to embrace the differences of our students and encourage an inclusive environment. We believe that the benefits of education go beyond the building blocks of the core curriculum like math, English, science, social studies, and foreign language. Education includes being exposed to new ways of thinking, learning about other people's perspectives and experiences, understanding different beliefs, backgrounds, races, cultures, and religions. Our families saw this personally as we lived abroad. As Americans, we were the minority. Our children attended an international school in Malmö, Sweden, where we were less than 10% Americans, and there were children from all over the world. Our children's closest friends were from China, Syria, Croatia, Saudi Arabia, and Sweden, to name a few. In school, our children were constantly enriched with new experiences that included cultural celebrations, current events, and lots of questions. I always remember when our 1st grade son came home one day and said to me, "Mom, I have a new friend in school. His name is Joseph. He just arrived yesterday and he doesn't speak very good Swedish, just like me." He said, "I invited him to play soccer at lunch and he's really good." But he said to me, "Mom, it's so sad because he told me that his family had to leave the country in the middle of the night in a hurry because their town was being bombed. I think that his house is no longer there. Can you believe that, Mom? Why?" You can imagine the series of questions that followed this. Where is Syria? And why is there bombing there? Why was he able to take things with him? He had to leave in the middle of the night? There was a lot of cultural learning that happened through this experience. And as I mentioned, this is the kind of cultural experience that we experience. So I later learned from his mother, she told me that meeting Charlie and making an early friend was such an extremely bright light for an unsettling time for Joseph. So our children also experienced many joys and beautiful differences, including celebrating.
Oh, that's 3 minutes. If you could wrap it up, I'd appreciate it. Sorry.
Through lots of other cultural experiences like Chinese New Year, Diwali, and understanding other values of other cultures. We truly want our schools here in Lake Bluff to embrace the inclusion and celebration of differences of children by enriching their learning experience. And that enhancement will allow our children in the schools to expand their minds and not just be citizens of Lake Bluff, but also of the United States and of the world. So I have volunteered as well to be part of the Thrive Committee, and I'm thrilled.
Thank you. Now we're going to move into Mike Kolash, and I apologize in advance if I don't pronounce people's names correctly.
Mike, you're on with the board.
Okay, thank you for the chance to speak. My name is Mike Kolash, and I live with my wife Stephanie and our two daughters at 661 Maple Avenue in Lake Bluff. My youngest will be graduating from LBMS in May, and so our family will move on from being intricately involved in the goings-on of our wonderful elementary district. Nevertheless, we are proud to still be a part of the school community, and the announcement of the Thrive Initiative only makes us more proud. I believe that none of us really knows how another person experiences life. Everything that happens today is colored by everything that has already happened. And if we don't even try to understand others, we probably have it all backwards. This is part of what I want to praise about Dr. Leali's recent letter. She stated in part that this past year has been more challenging for some than for others. And I know this is true. And I know that I don't even comprehend the level of challenge that some people face throughout the year and are still facing. I only know it, though, because I took time to learn. I paid attention, I asked questions, I talked to people. And now I'm so glad that our school district is going to take a stand for recognizing disparities in experience and fight to make at least all in our school community feel 100% welcome. I also admit that I don't understand why anyone would be in opposition to this sentiment. Perhaps I'll be enlightened soon, so I won't speculate, but I will say that I think unity is strength. Our country has enshrined this idea in its symbols. United we stand, divided we fall. That dates to pre-revolutionary times in a poem written by founding father John Dickinson. And our country is the country of e pluribus unum, out of many, one. It's on the back of a dollar bill. And the point is, we're better if we work together. And we can't possibly be as strong as we might be if we don't work to break down the barriers that keep some of us less than equal. And make no mistake, some in our community experience their day-to-day lives feeling less than equal, whether it's due to racial discrimination, religious beliefs, sexual preference, non-traditional genders, or any one of a number of things. There are societal messages that make people feel like they are not as valued. And it's wrong. And it can't and won't change until and unless people like me stand up and say it's wrong and work to change it. And that's why I'm speaking up. So I'd like to thank Dr. Leali for the message to our community, encouraging us to all support one another and of intolerance for bullying and harassment and exclusion. Kudos to the board members and others who will step up to work for a better, more equitable school community. And I also applaud every community member who takes the time to better understand the experiences of others in our community. It's not about placing blame, it's about accepting responsibility for making it better. We can do it if we do it all together.
Thank you. So now we're going to move on to somebody whose handle written on Zoom is, it looks like K Sekera, K-S-E-K-E-R-A. I don't know the name there, so we're going to let that person in. And I'll remind everybody that we're trying to keep this to 3 minutes, okay? Thanks.
Hey everybody, sorry, I didn't realize. I'm Katie Sekera. I live at 412 West Witchwood in Lake Bluff. We have a daughter, Taryn, who's in 5th grade. I just want to start out by saying when I read the email last week from Dr. Leali, I was thrilled that these topics are being addressed. I think for our kids, having a comprehensive understanding of the world outside of our small community is vital. And I think also to that same point, having an understanding that community experiences for people within the community can also be very different from our own. I think it's just key on so many fronts. I think for mental health, I think emotional wellness, feelings of inclusivity. I think it promotes critical thinking skills. And I think just a general education on our world and current events is just paramount. I know that when our daughter comes home, from time to time, she tells us about things that she's learned in school that are different than maybe what we learned, my husband and I, when we were in school. Granted, that was a long time ago, but it's nice to see some changes made there. But I definitely think there's some work to be done. I really want our kids to come out of the elementary school in District 65 with a greater understanding of the world around them and how their life and their perspective fits into the greater scheme of things. I want them to understand the differences between equity and equality. I want them to kind of understand the difference between, understand what implicit bias is and how that impacts them and the world around them. I think that's going to impact them as they go through life. And I think having a greater understanding of those things will only serve them in great ways. And I really think that this kind of knowledge goes beyond our little village. You know, a lot of people call Lake Forest the bubble. It's sort of an endearing term, but I think it does have its shortcomings also, because I think that the kids here really probably do have a somewhat of a narrow perspective on the world. So I think this is really going to give us the opportunity to provide our kids with an understanding of these things. And also, you know, just at kind of a basic level, kind of give them the foundation and the critical thinking skills to move through life as they're going through college or starting a career. These kinds of topics are kind of table stakes at most corporations and universities. Having a strong understanding of diversity and inclusion and what some of those things mean, that's the foundation for all things right now. And I think we would be doing our kids a great disservice if we didn't teach them some of those things. And I think along the way, we could really help make them become more caring and compassionate in the process, and so I think that feels like a win-win to me. I'd love to see our kids have the opportunity to get more knowledge.
3 minutes, so if you could wrap it up, but I appreciate.
Sure. And I just want to say one other thing. I think as a community, we just need to think about how this impacts the community as a whole. I think that some within our community are feeling marginalized or unseen or unheard. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to kind of work together to fix some of those shortcomings. Thank you for the time to speak.
I keep muting myself. I apologize. We're going to move on to Valerie Steiner.
Taryn Fisher, sorry.
That's fine.
Hi all, thank you. My name is Taryn Fisher. I live at 237 West Blodgett. I grew up in Lake Forest and I've been raising my children here in Lake Bluff since 2009. Lake Bluff recently elected me to represent the community as a village board trustee, a vote of confidence from my community that I am incredibly honored by. And generally speaking, I'm a very proud Lake Bluffer. And one of the reasons why I'm so proud to be a Lake Bluffer is we're a community comprised of diverse voices, faces, ethnicities, socioeconomic backgrounds, and beliefs. And yet we continue to exude this small town warmth unlike any other place I've ever encountered. Acknowledging, celebrating, and supporting diversity strengthens our community's fabric. So too does acknowledging the adversity that our minority Lake Bluff brothers and sisters experience. I want to take this moment to applaud and thank Dr. Leali for doing just that. Dr. Leali's April 20th letter is a thoughtful, impactful statement. It reminds us that acts of kindness and empathy cost nothing, but their impact can be priceless to the recipients. It reminds all Lake Bluffers that there is a place for everyone here in this village. Dr. Leali's message is exactly what I have come to expect from the team of incredible leaders at our educational institutions, including this board. It reinforces my pride in this town and gives me hope for meaningful progress for our children's generation. Acknowledgement of existing inequities for minorities should not be considered politicking. Neither should a call for inclusivity, kindness, and respect. Mr. Rogers, a figure who I hope we can all agree to be apolitical and universally cherished, encouraged children in a time of crisis to look for helpers. This past year has been a crisis. Let's all be the helpers. That's the Bluffer way. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're moving on to Valerie Steiner, I believe.
Yes. Valerie, you're on with the board.
Hello. So I submitted a comment, a written comment first, but then I decided to speak. I live at 502 McLaren Lane. And as a parent of a soon-to-be kindergartner, I am thrilled that our district is taking an active role to educate our community and protect our children by forming a task force such as Thrive. One aspect of Thrive that I love is its intended broad reach. Based on Dr. Leali's letter, it appears that Thrive's outreach relates to any aspect of a child's identity: race, gender, family structure, economic insecurity, body type, whatever makes the child unique. The acronym stands for trusted, honored, respected, included, and valued every day. These are universal traits I suspect we all, with all of our differences, want to teach our children and have our children feel. Each of our children is unique, and the combination of personal traits that makes each child unique should be celebrated and protected. Children rely upon our community to protect them, and Thrive can be one tool in our district's tool belt to protect them. Children are extremely vulnerable, and harassment, bullying, violence, and exclusion based on a child's identity can severely impact a child's emotional and mental development. The statistics of abuse from violence and self-harm relating to children who are members of the LGBTQ community alone are astounding and extremely disturbing. And these are children, not adults, but children who rely on us to protect them. As a court-appointed guardian ad litem and child's rep for children involved in parental disputes, I've seen firsthand how lack of understanding and lack of empathy can significantly impact a child's emotional and mental well-being and development. When the child is attacked for another aspect of their identity, in addition to their non-traditional family structure, the impact can be even more devastating. In order to protect our children, it is incumbent upon us as adults to educate ourselves about our differences, recognize our personal biases, and ensure we continuously strive to respect each other and our children. A task force such as Thrive will not only teach and protect our children, but we as adults will be able to learn from it and model good behavior as well. And if we trust, honor, respect, include, and value everyone in our community will be stronger, including our children. Thank you.
Thank you. So for our last Zoom speaker, we have Megan Michael.
Megan, you're on with the board.
Hi, this is Megan Michael. I live at 324 East Sheridan Place. I have one 7th grader in District 65 and have 2 high schoolers who also have attended school in District 65. I'd like to speak out tonight in support of the Thrive Task Force that Dr. Leali in District 65 is forming. My family and I moved here 7 years ago from Pennsylvania. One of the things that so many new friends and neighbors stressed over and over was that the community-minded people of Lake Bluff looked out for our own. Well, I'm here to say that every student who attends our schools are our own. Lifting up and supporting students, regardless of gender, sexual orientation or identity, class, race, cultural, and ableness, will be for the betterment of all Lake Bluff children and our community. Inclusive communities are stronger communities. I'd also like to point out the obvious that beyond the 4-mile radius of Lake Bluff are communities that don't look like ours. Hopefully, when we achieve success as parents and send our children off to college or work that is outside the bubble, as people like to call it, they will have a foundation of value and respect for everyone to carry into the world. I'm finished. Thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Megan. All right, now we have quite a large number of written comments. It's over 30. That the members of the administration are going to divide up and read. If you guys could tell the name of the person who wrote the comment, and then we're going to try to limit it to 3 minutes per reading, if we can do that, okay? All right, go ahead.
The first written comment is from Lisa Duran. I don't normally feel the need to make a public comment. As my husband Andy is on the board, I feel confident that his voice represents our family well. However, Dr. Leali's email on Friday prompted me to want to voice my own opinion. As a former teacher, a parent, and a social worker, I am completely in support of the initiative to have an open conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion, both in our schools as well as our community. And I appreciate the opportunity to do so. I feel strongly that the only way to enact change is through thoughtful dialogue, and welcome the chance to participate. I applaud Dr. Leali, the school administration, and the board for taking the risk to have uncomfortable but necessary conversations in support of all students and families.
Thank you, Lisa Duran.
The next comment is from Anthony Sontag. 229 East Prospect Avenue. Dr. Leali, I would like to thank you for firmly stating the district's position on diversity, inclusion, and anti-bullying. Taking a public stand before events happen may be somewhat controversial in our relatively peaceful and inclusive community, but the only way to prevent discrimination and bullying is to say so before it happens, not after. Thank you for taking this proactive public stance.
Thank you, Anthony.
The next comment is from Katie Murphy. As the parent of a Black daughter, I have watched with concern the division in our community over Black Lives Matter in the wake of George Floyd's murder. The misconception that equity and inclusion means treating everyone the same under the pretense that someone, in quotes, doesn't see color, works under the assumption that whiteness is the baseline for equality without addressing historic, systemic racism and justice that is still affecting BIPOC individuals today. I applaud Dr. Leali for recognizing this and understanding how BIPOC students have been affected by the events of the past year. Supporting all students means recognizing and correcting areas where we have not supported certain populations of students in the past. Having a community that is recognized as welcoming and inclusive to all and willing to course correct when that isn't the case will benefit all of the Lake Bluff and Knollwood moving forward.
Thank you.
This next one is anonymous, but I'll go ahead and read it. I'm sorry, I'm unable to join the board tonight. I wanted to thank Dr. Leali for her openness and willingness to engage the school district and community in even some of the toughest, most challenging conversations about racial injustice. I am proud to see the differences of all kinds are supported and celebrated in Lake Bluff. Equity, equality, inclusion, and diversity are of critical importance to our culture and raising children. It truly does take a village commitment to work on such attentiveness. I welcome the approach outlined by Dr. Leali and look forward to hearing more and support the work of the Thrive Task Force.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Next comment is from Christian Brandt. I am writing in support of Dr. Leali and District 65's Thrive initiative as outlined in the April 20th email. One of the things that our family loves about Lake Bluff so much is its inclusive and welcoming nature. Empathy, embracing diversity, and doing what's right are core principles we try to instill in our children and are heartened that the district is making this a point of emphasis at our schools. Everyone should feel safe and welcome in our schools and community, as diversity is and has always been what makes our country great.
Thank you.
The next comment is from Matt Allison. It's been a long time since I was in school, but I clearly remember that if a child was found to be harassing someone else, they earned themselves a trip to the principal's office. I'm hearing that there are some people that aren't happy about that. I suggest they realize that our schools are for preparing our children to live in our society. Part of the education includes learning that being a deplorable jerk to others is not a roadmap to success in life. To those that object to this truth because of their extremist political beliefs, my advice to you is that it's time to accept reality and move on with your life.
The next comment is from Cynthia McClamrock, 431 Lincoln Avenue. I wanted to write to the board to share my enthusiasm for the Thrive initiative. How wonderful that we have a superintendent who is working to ensure all of our children's needs are met where they are. We certainly should be celebrating the diversity within Lake Bluff and ensuring that every student feels comfortable and free to be who they are. These types of discussions aren't always easy, but the positive outcomes will be well worth any growing pains that may occur. I'm looking forward to learning more about the Thrive initiative and helping in any way I can.
Thank you.
This next comment is from Breen Tivnan. As a parent who will have a child entering the Lake Bluff school system next year, I was extremely pleased to see the recent communication from the Lake Bluff School District Superintendent, Dr. Lisa Leali, about the new community task force called Thrive that will work towards inclusivity for all learners. I'm excited to send my child to a district where these topics are not only recognized, but are put at the forefront of importance as actionable. What a positive learning environment we have to look forward to. Thank you, Dr. Leali and District 65.
Thank you.
The next comment is from Laura Breakstone. I applaud Dr. Leali and the Lake Bluff School District for creating Thrive and addressing the needs and unique challenges of minority students and their families in our community. Part of the reason we moved to Lake and love Lake Bluff is that the village is a community that takes care of one another and lifts each other up. Our schools reflect those values, and I am so proud of the administration and staff for their courage, kindness, and relentless work.
Thank you.
The next comment is from Christian Cole Duncan, 312 East Center Avenue. We want to commend Dr. Leali for addressing, discriminating, and forming the Thrive Task Force. Real social justice will not happen without every community thoughtfully finding concrete ways to ensure people of color are included, valued, and given equal opportunity. We look forward to working with the district on this initiative.
Thank you.
This is from Hillary Bryant. I am proud to live in Lake Bluff and am extremely supportive of the superintendent's message recently on diversity, equity, and inclusion. I want to live and have my children grow up in a community that is committed to embracing diversity and creating an environment of inclusion. A more diverse, equitable, and inclusive culture in Lake Bluff benefits all of us. Thank you, Dr. Leali, for your message and leadership on this extremely important topic.
Thank you.
This next comment is from David Lindstrom. As a lifelong resident and longtime Lake Forest Lake Bluffer who has chosen to raise his family in this community, I put my full support behind Dr. Leali. I applaud Dr. Leali and our school board for recognizing that there is still work to be done, even in a community as great as Lake Bluff. I look forward to being part of that work and using my voice and privilege to support our students.
Thank you.
This comment is from Elizabeth Natwick. I can't make the board meeting tonight, but I wanted to voice my support for the email Dr. Leali sent to us last week. I believe it is very important to acknowledge the pain of marginalized communities, especially over the last year. I'm sorry I can't be there in person or on Zoom to express my support for the board members and those behind this important message. Thank you.
Thank you.
This comment is from Jason Breakstone. I'm really pleased with the school district for taking the initiative with the endeavor so that we can continue to be an inclusive and caring community that lives into pause.
The next comment is from Lindsay Bornholt, 460 Evanston Avenue. I applaud Dr. Leali's stance on inclusion in our community and our schools. We are so fortunate to have a superintendent that understands the core morals of our little village. I look forward to supporting this cause in any way possible.
Thank you.
This one is from Annie Atsef. My name is Annie Atsef, and I am a 20+ year resident of Lake Bluff. I currently have 4 kids between District 65 and 67, and another child who recently graduated from the high school. I would like to applaud the efforts of Dr. Leali and the Lake Bluff School Board to address the issue of racism and exclusion in a timely and appropriate manner. I have heard some members of our community were threatened by Dr. Leali's letter addressing the topic of inclusion, equity, and diversity. This is not a political topic. It's about being kind and compassionate to our neighbors and understanding that not everyone has the same experience.
Thank you.
This next comment is from Beth Pearson. My husband and I have lived in Lake Bluff for 17 years, and our 2 children were educated in Lake Bluff schools. While they are now in high school and college, Lake Bluff is our home, and my husband is also a small business owner here. We moved here to choose to live here because of our Lake Bluff's strong sense of community. I am so appreciative of Dr. Leali's recognition that a community is only strong if every member feels safe and valued. Her effort to reach out and listen to children and families who might feel excluded exemplifies the values that I love about Lake Bluff. These efforts will make our community even better and stronger. Thank you, Dr. Leali.
Thank you.
This next one is from the Attendidos. We no longer have children in the district, but still live in the area and have friends in the school district. The The times that our children spent at Lake Bluff schools were excellent, and we would like to encourage the efforts of the community and school towards more inclusivity. And we appreciate it even more as we are from the minority demographic. The children and their families appreciate all the effort that the school district has done to help every child, regardless of color, origin, beliefs, culture.
Thank you very much.
The next comment is from Jamie and JT Goberville. Bravo to Dr. Leali and the Lake Bluff School District for taking actionable steps towards addressing how to better serve and include all the students and families in our school community by creating the Community Task Force Thrive. Lake Bluff is a community that has demonstrated time and again to be one that supports one another. We fully support and are so incredibly proud of Dr. Leali, the administration, and staff for leading the way for our students by modeling kindness, empathy, inclusivity, and bravery.
Thank you very much.
The next comment is from Jamie Pichak, 422 West Sheridan Place. The fact that anyone has an issue with supporting diversity is mortifying. Respectfully, get over yourselves.
Thank you.
The next one is from Amanda Stubblefield. I want to thank Dr. Leali and the Lake Bluff School Board for the recent communication on the efforts related to equity, diversity, and inclusion. Our communities are not immune to the injustices seen across our country, and I applaud every effort to ensure all our students and their families have a voice within our schools and our communities. Building a school culture that is welcoming and inclusive to all and equitable ability to grow and contribute is the standard by which our school should be holding themselves to.
Thank you very much.
This next comment is from Danielle Valentini. I continue to be impressed with how well Dr. Leali, the board, and all of our teachers and staff have navigated what has been a very difficult year. I fully support the dialogue on assuring the community is an inclusive and kind place for all families, and I appreciate Dr. Leali and the board's willingness to engage in difficult conversations. I'm excited about the plans for the new Thrive Task Force and look forward to more opportunities to celebrate the beauty of our community.
Thank you very much.
This comment is from Cindy and Bob Broughton. We applaud Dr. Leali's recent letter and statement in favor of diversity, equity, and inclusion. In today's world, there is so much division and hatred. It is important to stand up for what is right and just, and teach our children empathy and understanding. We stand with Dr. Leali and the school board in these statements. Lake Bluff is a welcoming community, yet there are always ways to be better. By recognizing and understanding that there may be areas for improvement, we will all grow to be a more accepting community and country.
Thank you.
The next comment is from Carrie Biankowski. I've lived in many places and have had the good fortune to be able to live, work, and travel all over the world. But I've had an even greater fortune to call Lake Bluff home and raise 3 daughters here. My husband and I chose to live in Lake Bluff. It wasn't random and it wasn't by accident. We made this choice because of the values that we saw in the community: compassion, open-mindedness, pragmatism, and tolerance, and craft beer. So much craft beer. And when we actively live our values, we create community. When we help a neighbor, we create community. When we plant trees at open lands, we create community. When we mask up even after we've been vaccinated because it's the right thing to do, for those who haven't been vaccinated, we create community. And when we acknowledge that we are living in extraordinary times and there is still pain and injustice, not downtown, but across the street, we create community. When we came together and collectively saw, even to others, welcome, we're glad you're here, we create community. And right now, we have the opportunity to lift ourselves up and be intentional about the community we want. I love this community. I chose to live here, and I chose to speak out and speak up when I see vocal minority hijacking the conversation. It pains me to see an anonymous trolling online and hear the dog whistles that have become part of the everyday life. It's not who we are, and it's not what we stand for. I don't write op-eds, and I generally mind my own business, but wow, I am fired up and a little bit fed up. Inclusion doesn't mean exclusion. Respect and liberty isn't a infinite resource, and it isn't a zero-sum game. When we open up the tent, we don't kick people out. That's just silly. We've all heard the adage, you're only as happy as your unhappiest child. True story. And it's true of our neighborhood as well. Our collective community is strongest when everyone is engaged and everyone truly feels welcomed and heard. That's what inclusion is about. As a parent and as a community member, I support leaders like Andy Duran and Dr. Lealy who are leading inclusion initiatives that our community will benefit from. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is Ann Sorensen, 6 East Witchwood Lane. Dear Dr. Lealy, staff, and members of the board of District 65, I just received this morning the letter posted by Dr. Lealy wishing to address head-on the immediate impacts of COVID, coupled with the deeper, more insidious problems of discrimination, bullying, and other forms of intolerance. My first thoughts were how impressed and relieved I was to hear those words. I will do all that I can as a non-user to support the district's efforts. I served for many years on the board of the Alliance for Excellence. Each superintendent that we had spoke about our population and the need to reach and fully support everyone. Now, a dozen or so years later, we are finally saying those words out loud and in public. This is what we do, and this is who we are in Lake Bluff. We must speak truth to one another and be accountable to all of our children. Thank you for your time and effort, and please let me know how I may be of service. Thank you, Ann Sorensen.
Thank you.
The next one is from Kirsten Starr. I wanted to express my support of the district's new Thrive initiative. It is important that my family lives in a community that supports inclusion and celebrates diversity in all forms. Stepping up and asking the community to be supportive in this mission is such a positive message to all members of the community and will make our community stronger. Asking people to speak up when the values of inclusion are not respected is an excellent example for our children on how to use their voice to be an active participant for positive change in their world.
Thank you.
This next comment is from Gabriella Puglisis. I would like to express my support for the efforts to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. I believe that hate, intolerance, and violence does not have a place in our community. I want our kids and family to feel included, respected, and accepted. I want my children to learn to care for others and stand up for injustice. I welcome comprehensive efforts to strive to make our community a kind of place for all students and family. Please count on my support.
Thank you very much.
This next comment is from Julie Rancourt. We applaud Dr. Lealy's timely email last week addressing inclusion and diversity within our Lake Bluff schools and community. Yet again, Dr. Lealy has demonstrated courageous, humble leadership, inviting families to be a part of the discussion and path forward. We are grateful for the concrete actions Dr. Lealy is proposing and view this as an opportunity to make our community stronger, more vibrant, and quite frankly, better citizens and humans to each other. Thank you, Mike and Julie Rancourt.
Thank you.
The next comment is from Emily and Colin McBeam. We are writing in very strong support of District 65's initiatives surrounding diversity and inclusion in our schools. Thank you for taking the intentional steps to ensure that all students, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, identity, family structure, etc., feel embarrassed, represented, and respected in the Lake Bluff schools.
Thank you.
The next comment is Greta Nagel. I am vehemently in support of Superintendent's recent statement recognizing the ways that this year has disproportionately affected BIPOC populations. I also support the initiative to actively work towards making BIPOC folks feel welcome both in the greater Lake Bluff community and in the classroom. As a white child growing up in Lake Bluff, I would have strongly benefited from an education which not only included but prioritized an anti-bias, anti-racist curriculum. Unfortunately, because I did not receive that kind of education, I did not become fully aware of my own white privilege until last year when George Floyd's murder made me wake up and start to do the work myself. Because Lake Bluff is a predominantly white community, I firmly believe that we must actively and vocally work towards dismantling the systems of white supremacy which disproportionately harm BIPOC. This new Thrive Community Task Force is an excellent start, but if we truly want to create lasting change in our community, and if we truly believe that all people deserve to be trusted, honored, respected, included, and valued every day, then it's not enough to simply talk about inclusion. We must offer a robust anti-bias, anti-racist curriculum in the classroom so that our children can do better. I now work in early childhood education myself and have committed myself to being actively anti-racist both in and out of the classroom. This past year has opened my eyes to the systemic, institutionalized problem of white supremacy, both in our country and in our community. We must no longer be silent until we recognize our white privileged Lake Bluff will never be a place which truly welcomes and celebrates diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this work starts in the classroom. Thank you, Greta Nagel.
Thank you very much.
The next comment is from Melanie Gruss. I wanted to send a note to express my support for the position Dr. Leali and the district has taken to provide inclusion for all. This is important for our community and children.
Thank you.
This next comment is from Meredith Rajan. Writing to support Dr. Leali's inclusivity and diversity learning efforts. These are essential pieces of education with no drawback that will prepare our students for the wider world beyond the Lake Bluff bubble. I feel lucky that our school system is thoughtful enough to add these components to the curriculum.
Thank you very much.
This next comment is from Ahmad and Amanda Merritt. Our family 100% supports the superintendent's email that was sent on April 20th in regards to inclusion in our schools and community. Raising our children with inclusion and empathy will allow them to grow into adults who will make meaningful contributions to society.
Thank you very much.
This next comment is from Sally Davis. I am so proud and grateful to our Lake Bluff schools community and Dr. Leali especially for taking concrete steps to ensure that all of our kids feel safe from discrimination and exclusion and are given every opportunity to thrive here. I look forward to listening, learning, and contributing any way I can in the coming months. We know that when Lake Bluff students go into the larger outside world, they are known for being remarkably kind and empathetic. I am confident that this initiative will further equip all of them to succeed in school and beyond.
Thank you.
The next comment is from Brianna Martin, 126 East Sheridan Place. As someone who has gone through the Lake Bluff school system, I would have greatly benefited from the actions that a committee like Thrive could have contributed to my education. I'm currently a student at Northwestern University, and I feel incredibly ill-prepared to have conversations with my classmates and colleagues around race and social injustice. I have learned more in one 10-week quarter about cultural diversity than I learned in my first 8 years of school. I wish I would have been exposed to difficult conversations around race instead of just ignoring the topic. I'm now having to relearn how to be culturally competent as a grad student because I did not receive the knowledge on how to do this in my early school years.
Thank you.
Our next comment is from Annie Penza. Hello.
Somebody else want to take it?
I can read it.
And for the opportunity, our family support here for the PT. Am I breaking up? I'm sorry.
Maybe somebody else can read that.
I can read it really quickly. This is from Annie Pezza. Hello, thank you. Thank you, Lake Bluff Board of Education, for the opportunity to voice our family's support concerning the current inequities regarding race in our community. Only 11 years ago, our family was new to this community, and as a new volunteer for the PTO in the lunchroom at Lake Bluff Elementary School in 2011, I was shocked to see parents passing out hot pizza on Pizza Friday as the free and reduced population of children, mostly a minority population, watched silently as the other children enjoyed their hot pizza in front of them, many of whom didn't have a lunch to eat at all. It's been 10 years, and thankfully our school district has made great progress when it comes to the inclusion and support of our minority populations. I'm grateful our superintendent has reached out to our community regarding this matter. It is in the forefront of many minds. My eldest child has endured racial slurs pointed towards others in her classes at Lake Forest High School, which have come from children of Lake Bluff residents. If anyone doesn't believe this is happening, you must be living in your own world. Children repeat what they hear their parents say. If you attended the Peace Rally in Lake Forest this summer, you would have heard from people of color in our community who deal with racism on a constant basis. I urge those of you in disbelief to reach out to others and educate yourself, and open your mind to the possibility others may be experiencing racism and discrimination. I am grateful for the attention to this matter, and we should all embrace the opportunity to grow and learn. Annie.
Thank you.
This comment is from Erin Jocelyn. Here are some stats. The millennial and Gen Z generations are the most diverse in history. Only 56% of the 87 million millennials in the country are white, as compared to 72% of the 76 million members of the baby boomer generation, and referenced CNN Money. Higher representation of women in C-suite level positions results in 34% greater returns to shareholders. Our children are heading into a world that values diversity and inclusion. If we don't teach them the value and importance of inclusion, creating and protecting diverse ideas and perspectives, regardless of color, race, or gender, we are setting them up to fail.
Thank you.
This is from Josh and Sarah Duncan. Please put myself and my wife, Sarah Duncan, down as supporters of Dr. Leali's email on supporting Black and Asian Americans at tonight's school board meeting. The fact that anyone is questioning the need for this letter is appalling and an embarrassment to our wonderful community. We currently have 2 students at the high school and 1 in elementary.
Thank you very much.
Mark, I am rereading a comment. I made a mistake, so I'm rereading Emily and Colin McBeam. We are writing in very strong support of District 65's initiatives surrounding diversity and inclusion in our schools. Thank you for taking the intentional steps to ensure that all students, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender identity, family structure, feel embraced, represented, and respected in Lake Bluff schools.
Thank you very much. Is that everything?
One more.
Yep.
Michelle Grady has a comment.
Is she live or is she to be written?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to get to her name.
Okay.
She's our last comment.
Michelle, you're on with the board.
I'm muted. Thank you. Can you hear me okay? I'm using my new AirPods. Okay. That's a hard thing to follow. So that was very, very moving. A lot of great comments. I would like to take the time to address our retiring school board members. Leanne, Julie, John, and Richard. I want to take this time to thank you for all that you have done. I'm certain that being a school board member has required more than any of you had imagined when you first got elected. Meetings, board packets, more meetings, and more board packets, and Jay's financial presentations that only a handful of people actually understand. If this past year has shown us anything, it is that you certainly dealt with more than you bargained for. You have remained on this board for many years and sought re-election, which is not always the case with school board members. You've given us strong decision-making and collaboration, which we are proud to have been a part of. This is also not the case in every district. We're fortunate to have such a dedicated group of people leading our school district. Thank you for your leadership and your commitment to our students, our community, and the staff in Lake Bluff District 65.
Thank you, Michelle. Is there any other public comment?
Not at this time.
All right. Thank you for all that comment. That was quite a bit, the most we've had in a very long time. I would just wrap that up by saying, if anybody is interested in working on this Thrive Committee, regardless of your perspective, pro or con, all points of view are welcome. We know both sides exist in the community and we want to hear from all of you. So please reach out to Dr. Leali to find out more about being involved in that committee. That committee will be setting the plotting, navigating the course for us for what equity means in Lake Bluff. So please raise your hand if this is something you're passionate about. And with that, we will move to the opportunity for board members. We're in item 5 on the agenda now. So every month, every meeting, we have the opportunity for board members to add or offer an agenda item for a future meeting or a brief discussion item this evening. If it wasn't an agenda item, it can't be long, and we will not be acting on it, but we can also have a brief discussion. So if anybody in the board would like to offer an agenda item or a discussion topic, please do so now.
Mark, on the heels of that discussion and the public comment, and I just want to thank everybody for being here and making comment and being present. I think that's an appropriate topic to add to our next board meeting. Just diversity, equity, inclusion in general, what our district is doing, what we as a board, how we can support the administration. Clearly, we heard tonight that it's supported and needed by our community. So if we could add that as a public discussion, that would be wonderful.
I think that makes sense. I just logistically, can it happen the very next meeting? I'm not sure, but we will make sure it happens soon.
Thanks for bringing that up, Andy. I'd just like to say that I agree and support adding that to the agenda. Thank you.
Any other comment or agenda item or discussion topic? Not hearing any. We are now going to move on to recognition. Let's have some fun here. We have some amazing board members who are stepping down. So we start this evening. Do we start with the video or do we start with the resolutions? Lisa?
We were going to start with the resolutions. Is that okay?
Yeah, you just tell me which way you want to go. So we're going to go with resolutions first. And we are going to be, there's a resolution written for each of our retiring board members to be read by one of the 3 board members who are remaining. And we're going to start out with a resolution read by Andy Duran in recognition and appreciation of Leanne Charlot.
Thank you, Mark. It's my honor to read this resolution of recognition and appreciation honoring the service of Board of Education member Leanne Charlot. Whereas Leanne Charlot has served the community of Lake Bluff since 2011 as a member of the Board of Education, during which time she has served as board vice president and board secretary, as well as a member of the Policy Review Committee, Strategic Planning Committee, Behavioral Intervention Policies Review Committee, Joint Shared Services 65, 67, 115 Committee, Superintendent Evaluation Committee. And whereas, through her leadership, the Board of Education has addressed many issues of significance and implemented many decisions and programs for the benefit of the children of District 65. And whereas Leanne Charlot has consistently upheld the highest standards of board membership and has shared uncommon perception, courage, and common sense to the many board deliberations in which she has been involved. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District 65, County of Lake, and State of Illinois, that the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District 65 hereby recognizes Leanne Charlot for her many significant contributions to the children and community of Lake Bluff and acknowledges with great regret her completion of term as a member of the Lake Bluff School District 65 Board of Education adopted this 27th day of April 2021 by the following roll call vote.
So may I have a motion to approve the resolution in recognition and appreciation for Leanne Charlot?
Second.
Second. Secretary Pro Tem, Julie, could you please call the roll?
I would be happy to. I'm even gonna do it Leanne's way. Morozen.
Yeah.
Charlo. Yes. Godshall. Yes. Hegg.
Rich?
You're muted, Rich.
Yes.
Duran.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes, of course. All right, motion's approved. Awesome. The second resolution is in recognition and appreciation for one Julie Gottschall. I have the honor of reading this. Lake Bluff Board of Education, resolution of recognition and appreciation honoring the service of Board of Education member Julie Gottschall. Whereas Julie Gottschall has served the community of Lake Bluff since 2013 as a member of the Board of Education, during which time she has served as Board Vice President and Board Secretary, as well as a member of the Policy Review Committee, Alliance Committee, Lake Bluff Park District Land Use Committee, Negotiations Committee, Strategic Planning Committee, Superintendent Evaluation Committee, and whereas through her leadership, the Board of Education has addressed many issues of significance and implemented many decisions and programs for the benefit of the children of District 65. And whereas Julie Gottschall has consistently upheld the highest standard of board membership and has shared uncommon perception, courage, and common sense to the many board deliberations in which she has been involved. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District 65, County of Lake, and State of Illinois that the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District 65 hereby recognizes Julie Gottschall for her many significant contributions to the children and the community of Lake Bluff and acknowledges with great regret her completion of the Board of Education. Adopted this 27th day of April, 2021 by the following roll call vote. So may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second? Julie, can you call your own roll? Your own vote on that?
You know I will. Thank you very much. It's been a privilege. It really has. Leanne Charlotte. Yes. Julie Gottschall, yes. Richard Haag.
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Mark Barry.
Yes.
A little uncertain on that one. Just kidding. John Morozen.
Yes.
The motion is approved. Thank you for your service. Next, we have a resolution of recognition and appreciation for one John Morozen, and I have been asked to read that as well. Lake Bluff Board of Education, resolution of recognition and appreciation, honoring the service of Board of Education member John Morozen. Whereas John Morozen has served the community of Lake Bluff since 2013 as a member of the Board of Education, during which time he has served as Board Vice President, as well as a member of the Insurance Committee, Strategic Planning Committee, Negotiations Committee, Joint Shared Services 65, 67, 115 Committee, Superintendent Evaluation Committee, Technology Committee. And whereas through his leadership, the Board of Education has addressed many issues of significance and implemented many decisions and programs for the benefit of the children of District 65. And whereas John Morozen has consistently upheld the highest standard of board membership and shared his uncommon perception, courage, and common sense in many board deliberations in which he has been involved. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District 65, County of Lake, and State of Illinois that the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District 65 hereby recognizes John Morozen for his many significant contributions to the children and community of Lake Bluff and acknowledges with great regret his completion of term as membership of the Lake Bluff School District 65 Board of Education, adopted this 27th day of April, 2021 by the following roll call vote. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Can we please call the vote on that, Julie?
Julie Gottschall, yes. Richard Haag.
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Mark Barry.
Yes.
John Morozen.
As with you, Julie, it's been a great privilege. Yes.
And Leanne Charlo. Yes.
The motion is approved. And our final, and last but not least, resolution for recognition and appreciation of one Richard Haag will be read by Ann Hill.
Before I get started, I just have to say, when I first arrived on the board, I got the honor of sitting next to Richard Haag, and you were always very welcoming and very encouraging. So it is my honor to read this resolution of recognition and appreciation, honoring the service of Board of Education member Richard Haag. Whereas Richard Haag has served the community of Lake Bluff since 2013 as a member of the Board of Education, during which time he also served as a member of the Alliance Committee, Joint Shared Services 65, 67, 115 Committee, Superintendent Evaluation Committee, Strategic Planning Committee, and whereas through his leadership, the Board of Education has addressed many issues of significance and implemented many decisions and programs for the benefit of the children of District 65. And whereas Richard Haag has consistently upheld the highest standards of board membership and has shared uncommon perception, courage, and common sense to the many board deliberations in which he has been involved. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District 65, County of Lake and State of Illinois, that the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District 65 hereby recognizes Richard Haig for his many significant contributions to the children and community of Lake Bluff and acknowledges with great regret his completion of term as a member of the Lake Bluff School District 65 Board of Education, adopted this 27th day of April, 2021 by the following roll call vote.
I have a motion to approve the resolution in recognition of and appreciation for Richard Haig, please.
So moved.
Anybody want to be second?
Second.
Julie, please call the roll.
And Richard, you go first. Richard Haig.
Affirmative.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Mark Berry.
Yes.
Tom Rosen.
Yes.
Leanne Charlo. Yes. Julie Godshall, yes.
Hey, it's official. You guys are all recognized and appreciated. I hope you love that. And now for your entertainment, Dr. Leali and her team have created a little video that I think you will really enjoy.
And this is a special thank you to Shelley and Jason Goff for helping us put this together.
All right. Hold on 1 second.
It's not embarrassing.
That was a concern.
Nope, it's really cute.
We just wanted you to know, we recognize and appreciate all your hard work and dedication to the students of District 65.
How often do school board members meet?
Maybe once or twice a month.
What do you think a school board member does?
I think they make like most of the decisions for the school, like the highest decisions.
Please try to be a little more quiet in the court.
Certainly.
Hi, board members. It's Miss Willie and Miss Maxino. We just wanted to take a couple seconds and thank you for everything you've done for us teachers in the school and the community.
How do you get on the school board?
You.
Bueller. What do you think a school board member does?
They control like whether we go back to school.
Thank you so much for your service to our school and to the entire Lake Bluff community.
How do you get to be on the school board?
You like run for it?
What do you think a school board member does?
I think school board members keep everything in place and make sure school is doing great.
Thank you so much for all of your hard work this year. We really appreciate it.
Love pre-K. Thank you.
How do you become a member of the school board?
I think you have to.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Glover. I'm one of the teaching assistants at Lake Bluff Middle School. I'm here with some 8th grade students, and we just want to say thank you for your service to the board. Thank you.
How do you get to be on the school board?
I think you have to be trained.
Run for it.
Running for like president or something.
How much money do you think school board members get paid?
$1 million.
I don't think they get paid anything because they're helping and it's like their choice to help. Thank you for being a school board member.
Thank you for your service.
Dear board members, thank you for all your hard work and support. You've really helped us get through these uncertain times.
The staff, students, and community appreciate your service.
Thank you. Thank you for being on the school board.
Thank you for being on the school board.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for being on the school board. Thank you for being a school board member.
Thank you, school board, for your hard work and service. Thank you, school board, for your support and your service, for your dedication, and for doing what's best for students and staff. We appreciate you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your hard work. From the library staff at the elementary school, thank you so much. Thanks for everything that you've done. You guys are great. Thank you.
With great appreciation and admiration to thank you for all that you do for our school district. School District 65 thrives in excellence because of board members like you.
Thank you. From the kindergarten team.
Thank you for your service to the Lake Bluff School District.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you for your years of service.
That was awesome.
So I think they said it way better than we could. You guys have paid your dues and put in hundreds and hundreds of hours over the past 8 or 10 years. And the district is better for it. The kids are better for it. You've made a big difference in your community. You should be very proud. And I am honored and privileged to have served with you. And I really appreciate all that you have done. So, unless anybody else wants to say anything else, we're going to go on to some actual little more business that you guys have to actually wrap up before you leave.
I just wanted to say a quick thank you.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to thank the outgoing board members for your support and guidance over the years. It was a pleasure to work with such a smart and capable group that sought to understand all sides of the issues. They asked great questions. You challenged us and always had the best interests of all the constituents in mind. You should really be proud of all the accomplishments that you've made during your terms. I also really appreciate that none of you could last past 9 o'clock. So board meetings were always efficient and I was in bed early. Tonight we may get challenged though.
This might be a record meeting actually for lateness.
We're trying to keep you here as long as possible.
Right, right. I'll hop on this wagon and just say thank you. Thank you. It's been an honor and an amazing experience to serve with all of you. I have learned a lot from you and it's been a blessing. So thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, I would agree. I just thanks to all of you for coming on. It's gonna be weird not to have you still present because always like I felt like if I didn't know what I was doing, at least lots of other people did. And
No, we didn't. But you made us believe you did.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
great.
So no, just thanks for all the support you guys have given as we onboarded and made it through these first couple years.
Andy, you just get better at faking it with time is what it really is.
That's right.
So I guess I'll say a few words since we seem to be at that moment. You know, when we came in, one of our first acts as a board 8 years ago was to adopt the vision statement, excellence in education, enthusiasm for life, every student, every day. And I feel like during my tenure, we have really lived it. And it is certainly in part to my wonderful colleagues on this board. You know, I just couldn't have asked for a more professional, smart, sharp group. But then, of course, also we stand on the shoulders of a terrific administration now in its second construction here with our new superintendent, Dr. Leali. But all along the way, all of you have been so supportive and so terrific, made this job easy, made our district wonderful. So I thank all of you. When I ran for the school board, during the debate that they had, I confessed in my closing remarks that I did not have the endorsement of my 7th grade daughter, who was afraid that I was going to make school too hard and take away all the fun stuff. So I trust that now she can say, and everyone can say, that school is just the right amount of hard and the fun stuff remains. So been a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you all.
I would just like to
I'd like to add on to what Julie had said. It was really a privilege serving with such bright, great people. My gosh, it just made the job so easy. All the way through, from the administration, the teachers, to the people on the board, to a bunch of great people. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
I'll just add something short but sweet. I'd like to acknowledge Christine. When we first ran, it was Julie, you, myself, Rich, and Christine. And we lost Christine in the last year. She was a dedicated servant to Lake Bluff over the years as village president. And it was a pleasure to serve with her. And I'd just like to think about her at this time. When we ran on a platform that I think we fulfilled, which I feel very good about. But the most fulfilling part of the job actually was watching the administration grow through Jean initially and now through Lisa, and being a part of watching our teachers and the job they do. They do a terrific job. They're dedicated. They're serious about their work. And being out of school as long as I have been out of school, and then my kids have been out of school for so long, it was the first time back in a school situation for me in quite a period of time. And I've always been impressed with Lake Bluff teachers. I just like to say that. And thank you. It's been a pleasure to serve.
I'd like to just make a quick statement too, to say it's really been a privilege and an honor to be a part of the board. And wow, 10 years later, I have to say a job really made so much easier by the fact that we have such wonderful staff and administration at the schools. You guys do a great job. And so it makes it easy to be on the board, and it makes it a great experience. So, and I'm just delighted to see you moving forward under Dr. Leali's leadership. So thank you.
Thanks to all of you very much. We really appreciate what you've given, all the time and all the service you've given. Do you want to do a little more business before you leave? You kind of have to do a little bit more. So with that in mind, I am going to go to our reports. And do we have a report from the elementary school, Mrs. Bay?
No principal reports tonight.
Okay. Mr. Khan, do you have an operations or CSBO report?
I do have a quick report. I just wanted to let you know that the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced last Tuesday that they will be continuing to reimburse schools and child care centers for free meals to all students, regardless of income, through all of next school year, the 21-22 school year, through the National School Lunch Program Seamless Summer Option, which is only usually available during the summer. And I'll be working with ISB and Quest on any new rules to try to implement that program for us for next school year.
That's great. Okay. Tracy, anything from your department?
Yes, so this is the time of year each year that we begin working on our grants for the coming year. And the beginning part of that is what's called the District Consolidated Plan, where we basically, it's a consolidated application for 12 federal grants. Districts determine how federal monies will be spent to supplement our programming, and the administration is responsible for administering the grant work collaboratively and to develop a coordinated plan that ensures resources are maximized, aligned, and not duplicitous. We align federal resources to support students in a variety of areas. So we support students requiring additional intervention and support. These are a heterogeneous mix of people from low-income backgrounds, English language learners, those requiring academic intervention, and students with disabilities. And in most cases, students have multiple identities. We align the resources with the strategic plan in mind and with existing information from needs assessments, our data that we collect to align programming within the district. The funding is utilized to provide upgrades to our programming, our academic interventions, our social emotional supports, services based on students' eligibility for special education services such as speech, occupational therapy, physical therapy, social work, and behavior interventions. Some of these monies also go to professional development in our professional development plan, which has an emphasis on improving instruction for all children, including equity-based practices, effective co-teaching, and high impact strategies to engage all learners and their families. And then the only other piece I have to share is just a reminder that summer school registration is still open and that it closes May 1st.
And how do they register if people want to register, Tracy?
So there's, they register through the web store on our district website, and there's no cost this year for summer school for families who would like to have their children attend.
Okay, that's good news. I have no president's report. Dr. Leali, is there a superintendent's report?
Yeah, really quick. So Teacher Appreciation Week begins May 3rd, goes from May 3rd to May 7th. We want to thank our PTO for your collaboration and leadership in supporting our Lake Bluff teachers and staff. They've gone above and beyond supporting our staff this entire year. We're just very fortunate for you and know next week is going to be really, really special. All students will be tested in reading and math on the MAP test from May 17th to May 21st. That's our local normed assessment. We are working on scheduling students for the Illinois Assessment of Readiness and the Illinois Science Assessment, which are our state standardized assessments. More information will be coming soon from your school. Our access for ELL testing dates, that's for our second language learners working on English proficiency, will begin May 17th and go through May 29th. This is a reminder that there's no student attendance for our Teacher Institute Day on Friday, May 7th. And I get my own report. So I just want to say thank you to our 4 retiring board members for your leadership and collaboration this year. And as I wrote in my final Friday update to you, for taking a chance on a first-year superintendent. I've learned from all of you, and I am not going to lose your phone numbers, and I certainly hope you don't lose mine, because I'll be keeping in touch. I know that we have a really special guest that attended for a little bit tonight, Dr. Sophie, and I remember that when she introduced me to the district, she said, you know, you just really have this amazing board, and I couldn't agree more. This has been a great group to work with, and I wish you all the best on your Monday and Tuesday nights, and we will be jealously trying to beat the clock and keep our meetings as efficient as we've had them this whole year. So thank you.
Good. So we're gonna, I think, dive right back in with you, Dr. Leali, in discussions and doing a return to learn update, right?
This is very quick, and essentially we are still waiting for ISB guidance on fall recommendations with regard to remote learning. And so I'm going to postpone any kind of update on our fall programming until sometime in May, hopefully, and we'll be able to give a better picture. But as I've been telling folks, we're planning for a much more traditional school year next year with a regular schedule. And so what we're just waiting on some of the logistics, especially regarding a remote learning option, which at this point sounds like it's going to be a waiver process. So if you have some sort of medical condition, there will be a form that you would fill out as a student or as a family to be able to take advantage of a remote learning option. And that is all I have for the return to learn. Phase 3 is going really well. We're excited to have all the kids.
Great. Any questions for Dr. Leali? So we also return right back to Dr. Leali for an update on the policy manual customization project.
Yep, so we really tried hard to get this one done for you guys to be able to discuss and approve, but we just weren't able to make it happen. So the policy subcommittee has met a bunch of times. We met with our attorney in the last, since our last meeting, and have looked through a couple of different opinions on some new policies that we'd like to put in place. And so IASB is working on our final draft of the policy manual right now. So what we'd like to do is bring it to the new board in May with a little bit more information about what our policy manual is and how we use it, how we work as a subcommittee, and then pull our subcommittee back with our new policy subcommittee, and we'll invite some of our existing members as well to kind of sit in with us, look at the draft as a whole, and then bring it to the new board, hopefully by the second meeting in May or the first meeting in June to be approved.
Okay. Any questions on that and that policy work? Thank you to that policy team, by the way, for all your hours that you've put against us. We appreciate it. So we're going to move on to item 9, the action items. We're going to begin with, I believe, something that Jay will update us on. Baker Tilly 2-year contract renewal. The board is asked to approve a renewal of Baker Tilly, who for an additional 2 years. Jay provided details in a memo in the board packet, and maybe he can give us the highlights here, please.
Sure. We've used Baker Tilly for the last 6 years. They provided a very high level of service. When they came on, they reviewed our internal controls and greatly increased the quality of our financial statements, which we now win some awards on. So I'm very happy with their work and would like to keep them on for another 2 years. I think it's good to have a consistent auditing firm partner, and we have the same engagement letter that we did last time. It's based on an original draft when we signed with them that was reviewed by our attorney. So all of the appropriate language is there, and the costs stay roughly the same. It's a charge of $31,900 for 2021, which is to audit this current fiscal year, and then $32,850 to audit next fiscal year.
Jay, just for people listening who may not be familiar with this, we're required to be audited every year, right?
We are, and I believe that, I'm not sure that we are actually required to have a financial report, but it is expected by bondholders and other constituents, and it's clearly best practice, and we do conform with all of the government accounting standard board rules and things of that nature. So,
any other questions or comments for Mr. Khan or on this subject in general? Not hearing any. May I have a motion to approve the Baker Tilly U.S. contract as presented by the administration?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Julie,
Yeah.
roll call vote, please.
Yeah. Okay. Andy Duran.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Mark Barry.
Yes.
John Rosen.
Yes.
Leanne Charlo.
Yes.
Julie Godshall, yes. Richard Hegg.
Yes.
The motion is approved. Item 9B, the Olson Transportation Contract Extension. The board is asked to approve the extension to the Olson Transportation Contract as outlined in Jay's memo in your board packet. Jay, can you please hit the highlights?
sure. Olson is asking for a 5% rate increase for next year. And that is more or less in line with the average that many of our other school districts are seeing. It's slightly higher, but it's still in line, and our rates are comparable. Olson has really done a great job this year working with us to keep our kids safe. They added some early routes for us and have implemented lots of safety procedures on the buses, and we're willing to reduce our number of routes as most of our kids were home. So we actually saved quite a bit of money on transportation this year, and we'd like to continue to partner with them in the future. So I'm recommending that we sign the increase, which really was based on an increase in liability insurance. There's a note from them in there that just their insurance rates have gone up quite a bit, and we require a significant amount of umbrella insurance and sexual abuse coverage. So that's where most of the costs are going to.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Khan? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the Olson Transportation Contract Extension as presented by the administration?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Mark Barry.
Yes.
John Rosen.
Yes.
Leanne Charlo.
Yes.
Julie Godshall, yes. Richard Hegg.
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Item C, Chromebook purchases. The administration recommends that the board approve the purchase of 310 Chromebooks for the 2nd, 5th, and 6th grade classes at a cost of approximately $93,700. Jay, is there more to that story that we need to know?
No, the only wrinkle is that we typically don't order these until the end of the year and have them delivered so that they hit next year's budget. But given the real constraint on the Chromebook market, given all of the remote learning that's going on and some of the supply chain issues. We're ordering them early this year to ensure that we get them in time for school. We didn't get our Chromebooks this year till November, and it causes significant disruption. So I'm asking for the approval to order these out of this year's budget. And we will be able to absorb them in this year's budget without going over. So I feel confident of that.
Great.
I just was asked to bring up also, just for the community, anyone who might be watching, we are in line with the high school on this. We're all on Google platform, and the Chromebooks have been very helpful for our students transitioning from 65 to 115.
That's good. Any questions for Mr. Khan on this? Not hearing any. May I have a motion to approve the Chromebook purchase as presented by the administration?
So moved.
Second.
You got that? Well, roll call vote, please.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
John Rosen,
Yes.
Leanne Charlo,
Yes.
Julie Godshall, yes, Richard Haig,
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
The motion is approved. The personnel report for this month includes retirements. Ann DeGott is a teacher at the elementary school effective June 2025. She's retiring, and as well as Kathy Kushinpour at the elementary school effective June 2025. It includes a licensed new hire. Elena Schneider is a math teacher at the middle school effective the 21-22 school year, replacing Elizabeth Chance at a salary of $50,265 per year. It also includes 2 FMLA leave act requests. Janelle Carney, teacher at the middle school, effective April 12th, 21 through April 23rd of 21. And Nicole King, a teacher at the elementary school, effective April 26th, 21 through June 17th of 21. Any questions or comments, concerns about the roll call, about the personnel report? May I have a motion to approve the April 27th, 2021 personnel report as presented by the administration?
So moved.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Leanne Charlo,
Yes.
Julie Godshall, yes, Richard Haig,
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
John Rosen.
Yes.
The motion is approved. And to this outgoing board, your final consent agenda. I know you're sad to see it go. This month's consent agenda includes the open session meeting minutes from March 3rd, 2021, policy review committee meeting, the March 9th, 2021 regular Board of Education meeting, the March 12th, 2021 policy review committee meeting, the April 13th, 2021 regular Board of Education meeting, the April 21st, 2021 policy review committee meeting. Also includes the closed session meeting minutes from April 13th, 2021 regular Board of Ed meeting. It includes the treasurer's report, the impressed report, the bills report, the P-card report, as well as a resolution to transfer funds from contingency for COVID purposes. Would anybody like any of that pulled out for discussion purposes? Not hearing any. May I have a motion to approve the April 27th, 2021 consent agenda as presented by the administration?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
John Rosen.
Yes.
Leanne Charlo,
Yes.
Julie Godshall, yes, Richard Haig,
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you. We are now moving on to FOIA requests. We have none. We have the opportunity for public comment at the end of the meeting. Is anybody in the Zoom room wish to make public comment to the board?
No.
Is there anybody on the floor there who wants to make comment? And we have no additional written comments?
No.
All right. Anybody on the board would like to make a public comment? Not hearing any. We now move on to the canvass of the school board election. This is where we are starting to transition the board. So this is the item 12 is canvass of the school board election. And please bear with me. I'm going to do my best not to fumble through this. This is all kind of new. We're going to accept and approve the abstract of votes from the April 2021 election. I move that the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District 65 accept the results of the election held in Lake Bluff School District number 65 in the County of Lake and State of Illinois on April 6, 2021, and that the following persons received the number of votes opposite their respective names for the office of Board of Education member for a 4-year term. Carrie Steinbach, 1,033 votes. Lauren Hirsch, 997 votes. Tim Pennish, 959 votes. And Amy Connell Donahue, 1,011 votes. Therefore, the Board of Education declares that Carrie Steinbach, Lauren Hirsch, Tim Penich, and Amy Connell Donahue have each been elected to serve as members of the Board of Education for a 4-year term. May I have a motion to accept and approve the abstract of votes from the April 6, 2021 election?
So moved.
Second.
A roll call vote, please.
It's just a roll, it's not a roll call vote, just a,
I think we're required during COVID to do roll call for everything.
well, I'll do it however you like. Julie Gottschall, yes. Richard Heck,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill,
Yes.
Mark Berry,
Yes.
John Morozen,
Yes.
Leanne Charlo.
Enthusiastically, yes.
It would be nice to do one more all in favor just for old time's sake, but I don't think we can. Okay, we're almost there. Now we are going to do the oath of office for the elected school board members, right? So we let in the new guys.
1 second. Are we all here?
Welcome, almost new board members. Do you guys have the oath script in front of you so you can read it when I cue you? All right, so that's what we're doing here, and I'm going to cue you. So Carrie, Tim, Lauren, and Amy, please stand, raise your right hand, and read the oath of office in unison. So I would suggest you go kind of slow and steady. I.
Better?
I, Timothy Penich, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge
duties of the office of member of the board
of the member of the Board of Education of Lake Bluff School District in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I further swear
that I shall respect
taxpayer interest by serving
serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage
and respect the free expression of opinion of my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall abide by
majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes
in such decisions
through ethical and constructive channels.
As part of the Board of Education,
The Board of Education shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student.
I shall foster with the board
Although board extensive participation, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Lake Bluff School District.
I shall assist in establishing
a structure and an environment. All students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework.
I shall strive to ensure
a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law.
I
shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students
in our
and our
community
community school
to advance the vision.
to advance the vision for Lake Bluff School District 65.
And I shall strive to work
I shall
together
strive to work together with the district superintendent
and
to lead the school district towards fulfilling the vision of the Board has created, fostering excellence
student in the
for
area
every student of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship,
and
and personal development.
All right. Thank you, guys. We're almost there. Couple more steps. So
Really, that
now,
was really well done, all things considered.
item 12C is the appointment of a president pro tem, pro tem just means for the time being, a vice president pro tem, and a secretary pro tem for the reorganization new board meeting agenda to follow. So,
So I move, Mark, I move that the Lake Bluff School District 65 Board of Education approve Mark Berry as President Pro Tem, Andy Duran as Vice President Pro Tem, and Ann Hill as Secretary Pro Tem of the Board of Education.
can we roll a motion to that effect? A second on that?
I will,
I'll
was I
second
the
it.
first? Then I guess.
Who's the first? You moved.
Second,
Second, and now Julie, can we have a roll call, please, of the old board?
Sure. Mark Berry,
Yes.
Julie Gottschall, yes. Leanne Charlo,
Yes.
Richard Hegg,
yes,
John Rosen,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
Motion is approved. All right, so we have our pro tem, president, vice president, and secretary. May I have a motion for the current school board to adjourn sine die at, what is it? 8:52 PM on April 27th, 2021. Sine die means to adjourn indefinitely. So may I have a motion to that effect from the old school board members?
So moved.
Second,
May I have a second?
second,
Yes.
Julie, please call the roll on this.
Okay. Julie Gottschall, yes. Leanne Charlo,
Yes.
Richard Hegg,
yes,
John Rosen.
yes.
Those were certain yeses. Mark Berry,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill.
Yes.
The motion is approved. And I think we should give these folks a round of applause. Thank you for your service to your community. You are adjourned forever, indefinitely. Thank you so much. So now we have a meeting of the new school board will be called to order. And I would like,
Thanks, guys. I relieved on good hands. Hold on. Oh, yeah.
you guys don't physically have to leave. You can keep watching, I suppose.
You made it just before 9 o'clock too.
Yeah,
right. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank you. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
One
Don't be
second.
strangers.
Mark, 1 second while we change over seats.
Oh yeah, okay. So you did tell me you wanted to pause at this time. I need to stand up anyways. I need a little stretch.
You know, that's the
No, I didn't know that. I love you so much. I speak. Thank you.
Place.
Yeah. Thanks. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
This is a very emotional meeting.
Thank God.
Congratulations, Gary.
Thanks,
Congratulations,
Andy.
Lauren.
Thanks, Andy.
You guys see that the only outside participants are like our
What's that?
friends? The only outside participants are.
yeah.
Hi,
That's the way it normally is.
It's nice to meet you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you. Yes.
To see you. Yeah, it was awesome. It's so funny. I completely forgot I saw you. It was so early. My kids like, lost my mind. But then I saw you and it's like, I just saw her at the airport. So good. Thank you.
Bye, guys. No, you're over there.
No, you're over there. I see your name. On the TikTok. I'm intimidated. Okay.
Congratulations.
Hey, there we go. I don't see Amy. Is she on?
Here.
Yes. Yep, she's on. She's here.
Huh. Not on my screen for some reason.
Not yet. We're getting her going.
I'm relaunching.
Leanne, do you want to stay on or do you want? Does she want to stay on?
We'll miss you.
Bye, Leanne.
Bye, Leanne.
Bye, Richard.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys ready to continue? Do we need more time?
Let's do it.
I think we're good, right?
You guys ready? We'll fumble and stumble through this together because this is all uncharted territory. All right, so where's my script? Welcome to the Lake Bluff School District 65 Board of Education meeting. I would like to call this meeting to order at 8:56 p.m. Secretary Pro Tem Ann Hill, may I please have a roll call?
Yes. Mark Berry,
Present.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Present.
Andy Duran,
Present.
Ann Hill, present. Lauren Hirsch,
Present.
Tim Penich,
Present.
Carrie Steinbach.
Present.
We are all present and accounted for. We have a quorum and we can begin. We have a massive echo.
We got it.
So now we are going to begin the portion of the meeting where we're going to appoint the governing officers of the board, the president, the vice president, and the secretary, who typically serve 2 years under that appointment. So I'm going to request declarations of board office intent. If any board members wishing a particular office who have not previously declared interest, please raise your hand and say something at this time. If there's no other intent, Andy?
I move that the Lake Bluff School District 65 Board of Education nominate Mark Berry as president of the Board of Education. May I have a motion to elect Mark Berry as president of the Board of Education?
So moved.
Any seconds?
Second.
Second.
Secretary Pro Tem, may I have a roll call vote, please?
You may. Mark Berry,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Motion passed. Mark Berry, congratulations. You will remain the president of the Board of Education.
Yay.
Thank you. I appreciate your confidence. I will do my best to live up to the standards we've all set here. So we're going to have a great new board. We're going to continue. May I have a motion to nominate the vice president of the Board of Education? I move that Lake Bluff School District 65 Board of Education nominate Andy Duran as vice president for the Board of Education. May I have a motion to elect Andy Duran as vice president of the Board of Ed?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Ann, could you please call the roll?
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Mark Berry.
Yes. All right, the motion is approved, and Andy Duran is our new Board of Education Vice President. The final appointee is, may I have a motion to nominate the Secretary of the Board of Education? And I move that the Lake Bluff School District 65 Board of Education nominate Ann Hill as Secretary of the Board of Education. So may I have a motion to elect Ann Hill as Secretary of the Board of Education?
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Secretary Pro Tem, can you do the roll call vote on your own nomination?
I will. Mark Berry,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
The motion is passed. Ann Hill, you are now the new Board of Education Secretary. And that's it. We're there. So now I guess we have dismissed the pro tems. We all have our official role, and we're going to move on in the agenda. Before I move on, I just want to say thank you so much for all of you guys running. We're going to work. You're going to come up to speed faster than you imagined. You're going to do great work. And please don't ever hesitate to ask questions. to stop me in the mid-sentence if I'm saying something you don't understand. We tend to use a lot of acronyms and things that we get casual about it. And it's often helpful just for people watching to stop me and explain what we're really talking about. So don't hesitate. No such thing as a stupid question. Anything you might be asking, I guarantee somebody else is thinking about. So welcome, and this is going to be great. All right, next item. Public comment. So as we've done earlier, we offer this opportunity for the public to offer comment on the board. To the board, we limit this to 3 minutes tonight. And if anybody would like to make public comment, please do raise your hand in the Zoom room. I don't see anybody. Do we have any written comment? We do not.
No.
It is also okay if anybody on the board or administration would like to make public comment.
Congratulations.
Yeah, welcome.
You guys.
Thank you.
Going to move on. We now move to the appointment of the IASB representative. And that's, I'll start with that acronym first. The IASB is the Illinois Association of School Boards, and the IASB representative. So at the local board level, every member district has the opportunity to appoint an IASB governing board representative. This individual serves as the primary liaison between his or her local Board of Ed and the association. A governing board representative receives meeting notices, newsletters, and other correspondence from IASB. He or she encourages fellow board members to attend division dinner meetings and other IASB-sponsored events. A governing board representative is generally the board member who represents the board at the delegate assembly, which is held each November during the joint annual conference in Chicago. The delegate this past year, it was done virtually. They canceled the live delegate meeting. The delegate assembly considers and votes on resolutions submitted by member districts from across the state, which when approved, become the basis for the IASB's stance on legislation and related matters of public policy. In other words, it becomes their advocacy agenda for the year. I have served this role in the past. I am happy to do it in continuing, but if anybody would like to, I have no problem relinquishing that responsibility. Is anybody interested in being the IASB rep for the next school year?
Mark, I move that you do it again.
Yeah, I second that motion.
I lost the script, but I want you to do it.
All right. May I, so did somebody second? You did. You already got the first and the second, right?
Yep.
So, Ann, can you please take a roll call vote?
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Mark Barry.
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch.
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Tim Penich.
Yes.
The motion is approved. I am continuing as the IASB rep. Hey, the board, I just want to explain one thing that new board members may not have noticed or heard about is whenever the secretary calls for a roll call vote, we rotate the order of the vote. So she'll start with another person every single time so that it ends on a different person every single time. That way, not one person on the board has the ability to be in a position of power and break all the ties. So just so you know, that's school board is a little different than village board, which the president only votes if there's a tie, giving some power to that role. So we're not like that. Item 13F is the designation of meeting date, place, and time. This is, so may I have a motion to approve the posted Board of Education meeting schedule as presented for the 2021-2022 school year?
So moved.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, that is included in the board packet. It's also available online. Ann, could you please call roll call vote?
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Mark Barry.
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch.
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Tim Penich.
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Another point of instruction here in a non-COVID year, we're operating under some unusual pandemic rules, but in a non-COVID year, any vote that does not affect the budget we can do with an all in favor, all in favor say aye, rather than going through the roll call process. But this year, every single vote, no matter how trivial, has to be done by an individual roll call vote. And that continues until the governor's order, there's some governor order that has to be rescinded. Item 13G, committees with Board of Education representation. We as the board need to discuss which board members will serve on the respective committees. There's no formal motion involved here. And is Lisa going to take us through that? I don't have that in front of me, the script. Who's going to take us through that?
I can do that. So we're looking for volunteers for each of our board subcommittees. And we'll just go through the list here and see if there's people interested. So for our alliance, we meet one meeting annually. It's usually in the evening, and we need 2 members that might be interested in that. Jess, please, do you want to take it? Alliance as our foundation? Sure.
No.
No, the alliance. Yeah.
The alliance?
Yeah,
Okay.
the alliance.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry about that.
No, I said, yeah.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yep, and just I think it's not usually a long meeting, just to have board representation there. So anyone who might be interested in
I can do
that.
that.
Lauren?
Sure.
Anyone else?
I will do it.
Thanks, Amy. Okay, our insurance committee meets as needed, and usually Jay will present kind of the current state of the insurance that we're able to offer to our employees, any rate changes, any kind of differences in coverage. We also meet with teachers as representatives from the LVTC and administrators. We have had 3 board members on that committee in the past. Mark Berry, I don't know if you want to continue.
I'm happy to continue.
Great. So if we have 2 other members that would like to sit with us.
I can join that one too, Lisa.
Thank you.
Did we have 3 or 2? Wasn't it just me and John?
It said Mark, John, and Rich.
There was an alternative.
Yeah.
Oh,
an
it was an
alternate.
All right, so we'll keep it as Mark and Ann. Is there anyone interested in being the alternate?
We could come back to that.
All
It's
right,
no big deal if we don't lock these in now. We'll start asking you if we can't make it though.
sounds good. We have a joint shared services committee that works 65, 67, 115. I don't know that we've had regular meetings of this one.
Not once in my tenure.
Okay, so I can.
I'll stay on it. I'll stay on it.
But it is something. It is
I
something
do think we will start meeting though.
Yeah.
we need to.
Yeah.
That will become evident to you soon if it isn't already, that we need to establish that relationship in a better way, more positive way.
Yeah,
I'll stay on that one.
great.
And I'd
Thank
like
you,
to do
Andy.
it
Yeah, I
too,
would
if we
join
need
in.
someone.
Amy and Carrie?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Negotiations committee, we won't need until the 23-24 school year, so start thinking if that's something you would be interested in, but I don't think we need to take any names for that one yet. Mark Berry?
We're in the middle of what, a 5-year contract? Is it 4?
Yeah.
Is it contract 4 or 5? I forget.
It's a 5-year, and we're finishing the 2nd year, correct, Jay? Yeah. So, Mark, I don't know if you'll be able to be on it.
I won't be here for that.
Won't be here for that, so we'll need names for that one. We can think about it. Mark, are you interested in staying as our NSSED board committee member?
I'm happy to do it. It's something I care a lot about, but I'd also encourage people to think about it, because when I transition to the board, I've got 2 more years and I will not be running again. Somebody's going to need to assume that role. We each of the, let me step back. If you don't know, NSSED is the North Shore Special Education District. It is a cooperative 18 school districts that has serves the purpose of helping all the different members with some of their special education needs. Every school utilizes it to a different degree. Every one of the 18 members provides a board member there. They call it the governing board. And so I am that representative now from Lake Bluff. And as I wind down, somebody's going to need to fill that role. So think about it. We don't need to do anything different now if you don't want to.
Thank you. We have a policy committee that is going to need to meet relatively soon. And so Anne has been sitting on that. Are you willing to continue? Great. So if we had 1 or 2 more members that would like to join the policy committee, we meet 3 or 4 times a year when new policies are presented from our press. organization that provides us draft policies. We review them together and then we bring new policy suggestions to the whole board for approval.
It sounds really boring, I get it, but it's super important work.
But
and
it's
a big
amazing.
Part of what we do.
I'll help.
I'd be willing to serve on that.
Okay,
Great.
Ann, Tim,
If you need it.
possibly Carrie? Okay, thank you. Superintendent Evaluation Committee is as it sounds. So we meet annually to talk about my evaluation, talk about the goals that you'd like me to be working on for the year, the competencies that we feel like I should be evaluated on, and then bring those recommendations to the whole board for approval.
I'll do that.
Mark?
Yep.
Thank you. Ann, you've sat on it before. Would you like to continue?
I'm happy to continue.
Okay. Anyone else interested? We did have 3.
I think I was actually on it, but I don't think I need to be. So if anybody else wants to do it.
Lauren?
I can do it, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, the Technology Committee hasn't also met. I don't think, we didn't meet this year with our board reps, but we have in the past, right, Jay?
We have in the past. It's sort of on an as-needed basis now.
I think John was the only rep, right, in the
Yep.
past?
We have John and then Andy as maybe a alternate.
Again, never met in my tenure, but
Okay.
happy
He's a good one
to stay on it.
Excellent. We're gonna keep Andy on.
That's the area I know.
Okay, then we have a tri-board advisory between Lake Bluff 65 Park District and Village Board. And we don't, it says we don't meet regularly, Mark, is that true?
Yeah, that's another one that has fallen by the wayside, and it's unfortunate because one of the things that it proves really useful to have conversations with the other primary taxing districts in the community. And I'll give you an example of where that came in really handy is a number of years ago, the pool, excuse me, my phone is, I apologize. A couple of years ago, the park district did a referendum to finance some repairs on the pool and some other work around their properties. And there was talk of before, and so this group met this committee met regularly, and they kept us up to date on their progress on and their planning for the referendum. And they asked the other village, the village board and the school board, if you guys are thinking about going out to referendum for something big, please let us know in advance, because it would be horrible to the town to be asking for huge amounts of money from more than one taxing body at a time. So it allows you to have those kind of preliminary conversations, and there are things that we can work together on and do a lot of good work. And I think taxpayers would appreciate it. So it's something that I think we should somehow try to revive one way or another.
I think we can try. We have new leadership. Yeah.
And I meet with the presidents of the park district and the village very regularly. I've already set up, I've already reached out to the new presidents, and we're going to be meeting in May. And so I'm going to talk to them about that committee as well. It's a really good thing to do, and it's good to have those contacts. So,
Mark, can I keep you signed up for that one?
sure.
Excellent. Then we have another one, which is a new one that we've been talking about between the 3 districts, 65, 67, and 115, focused more on legislative priorities. So this one has not yet met, but this would be a small committee of board and superintendents that would get together and talk about potentially getting together to advocate on joint legislative efforts. So if there's anybody interested who's not already on maybe the joint shared services that would like to focus more on legislative issues.
I'd be interested in that.
Great.
Yeah.
I can be involved in that too.
Mark,
Yeah,
excellent.
sure. And just as an example to the new guys, hot topics in that area right now, there's been some very recent conversation about mandatory or forced consolidation of school districts in the state. And it was recently not approved by the legislature because of a lot of advocacy by school boards. Other things like what you might hear, what are they called? Mandatory, unfunded mandates is another term you'll become familiar with, that every year the state of Illinois proposes and approves all kinds of things that school districts have to do, but then they don't help you pay for it. and it costs lots of money, and it comes from your property taxes, and we've got to figure out how to pay for it. And so there's been some talk about doing some legislative advocacy work on unfunded mandates. That's just two examples of some hot topics.
Okay, and then this one isn't listed, but as you know, we're starting a new task force. I would love to have 2 board members on the Thrive group if you're
like to be
interested.
on that.
Okay. Andy and Ann, and that would be great. And again, just if parents are still watching, we would love to have folks help us out with that effort. Our first kind of work will be to think about what more information we need in order to think about developing a mission statement or potentially a board policy that we'd like to bring to the full board. So be thinking about that.
I would encourage people from all points of view to raise their hand for that as well. We really need to have different perspectives on that committee.
Yes, and that's it.
Is that it?
That's it.
So I've got nothing actually written on my agenda to continue. So are we all wrapped up?
I think we need to approve the board calendar. Is that right, Shelley?
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
We did that.
We did
Sorry,
that.
I was paying attention, I promise. Missed it.
So am I going to ask for an adjournment, or is there something else we need to do?
My next roll call is for adjournment, so let's.
Okay. All right, well, welcome to the board. If you guys have any questions or comments ever, don't hesitate to reach out. You have my cell phone number, my email, and I think the same probably applies to Dr. Leali. She's very available. So thank you for your service, and we're going to do great work together. So at 9:17 p.m., may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
All right. Ann Hill, yes. Mark Berry,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
That's it. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for your service, guys. I look forward to working.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Guys.
Thank you all.
We try to end every meeting close to this time.